Welcome back to the channel, everybody. This is part 6. I say part 6 of Stav's build, and it hasn't been 3 months later. We're progressing. Today we're going to be doing the custom shifter install from CAE on his 01E 6-speed for his B5 on his build, and I'm pretty excited. Stav, what are we doing today? What's going on? What do you have in your hand?
Well, I have the shifter underneath the assembly where the shift cables get installed, where we have no instructions. Even though there is instructions on the website, but we can't read. So we're going to be putting this together in the car today. It might take 5 or 6 or 13 chances, but we'll get it right eventually.
So this is going to go on the bottom of the car.
Correct.
And the shifting assembly gets installed into the cabin.
Correct.
And what are we looking at here? This is the box where all the linkages and the wiring, the cables get all put on?
Mm-hmm, correct.
All right, the cool thing about this that we want to bring up also too is we were kind of scratching our heads for a few minutes. Man, if we install this on the bottom of the car, how the hell do we have access? And then we realized that the bottom plate, the service here, gets removed, and you do all the connections and stuff after the box is installed. So we had a derp moment for about 15-20 minutes as we were looking at this thing, and then
luckily it was not caught on camera.
And then we figured out, hey, you got to take off this bottom panel. So we're gonna hard mount this to the bottom of the chassis. We're gonna bolt that shifter in inside the cabin. We're gonna show you guys how, and then all the small components, counterweights, and everything we're gonna install on the transmission itself. And we're gonna work on alignment and seeing if it works properly. That's gonna be our plan today, huh?
Correct.
All right, well, let's get down to it. Custom. I don't know if it's custom.
No, it's not custom.
Definitely not custom. I could say custom, but I'm not going to say custom.
You said custom.
I said custom. CAE shifter kit.
Another word that you messed up. Oh, tool steel. That's what it was. It was tool steel. Oh, you kept saying tool. That's what it was.
All right. CAE shifting kit install for Stav's transmission. Part 6. Welcome back, guys. We're going to be doing a video every day this week and having his car, as promised, running and done hopefully in the next 6 days. I said in the last video by Friday, but this time it'll be running by Thursday. Get off the camera. Let's get to work. He didn't say what month though. All right, let's continue on. So we're going to start off with the actual shifting box. As you guys saw, we already put in one of the cables, and the way we had to do it, we had to break apart the top, and this is the rod end that clips off. So we took this off, slid off the washers because you can't do it either or, and then we're going to slide this into the actual box. Washers, nut on one side. And then we're gonna put these on the other. So we have our washer, lock ring, and then we have our actual nut. And that's gonna slide in here. Now these are gonna be, we're not gonna super tighten these now, and we'll have access. This is actually the bottom of the box from the bottom of the car. We're gonna get these nice and snug. We may need to adjust these depending on, you know, the guy that we bought it from also had on his B5, but these came already apart, so we don't know if we have to thread in the cable a 1/4 inch or thread it out. So we're gonna leave these just pretty much snug and not tighten them down too much. And then the rod end is here. We're gonna take the rod end, slide that on. Again, that has a lock nut on there too. And we'll just slide this on here. We don't know exactly where the length is gonna have to be, but at least now we'll be able to install it on the bottom of the car. So now, as you guys are looking at this, we have the actual cables tent mounted or just loosely mounted to the back of the box. This is the bottom of it, and this gets mounted to the bottom of the car like this, which we'll show you here. And then these are what are going to connect onto the transmission, and then we'll get onto what hooks up onto the transmission and how they bolt on in just a second. But we're going to hard mount this to the car first, and then mount the shifter inside the car, and we'll show you guys how we did that and what we have to cut if there's any plastics in the way. But let's do this simultaneously because the shifter actually installs into this box from the top. So I'm gonna get into the cabin, Stav's gonna get underneath, we're gonna line this up, install it, and then we'll get you guys a visual to see how this is put in and how this is supposed to work. So I'm inside Stav's car, he's on the bottom. Stav, say what's up. All right, so what we're gonna do is the shifting plate, and you see here, the holes, so the bolts are gonna have to go through. Stav, I think we may even need to have to cut these plastics on just the front side.
Well, let's see.
I think I may have to trim it. So let me line the box up, hold on. So the holes are, okay, so that's where the bottom of the box will, and the holes pretty much line up there, and you can actually see the linkages. And in this box, this gets mounted to the box, but I think in order to have access to these bolts that came through. I think we're gonna need to just trim the front side of this plastic, and Stav's going race car with this. I don't think it's gonna affect too much. I think we can even still install a shifter surround, but don't quote me on that. We'll get that as we progress. But yeah, I think we may need to trim this part here, Stav. I'm pretty sure of it. Or maybe not. Maybe just drill a hole from the top so I can put the fucking bolt through. I'm not sure. What are we gonna do? I think we just need to drill. I'm gonna get the drill and just drill 2 large holes here so I have access to screw them and bolt them down from the top. I think I can do that. All right, let me go grab a drill bit real quick. Guys, we'll grab a bit real quick. And then my super organized toolbox where all the drill bits are all these are all the loose bits. Then we have the extensions pretty much in everywhere, and it's pretty much every bit you could buy from Harbor Freight, and I bought the same ones 5 times over because I ended up losing the small one, so they came with a larger. I won't even get into it. Pretty sure this will suffice. I got one that looks like it could drill through Wolverine's armor, so I think I'm going to use that on the drill. Pretty sure that'll be good. Her baby. All right, I think we'll be okay. All right, let's see how bad I can mess this up. Lining this up, pretty much, kind of. I'm pretty sure I got the bit with the dullest tip. I think I gotta throw this drill bit out. All right, I'm gonna go get another drill bit. This one's done for. All right, so I think I got the appropriate bit. I'm not sure. Pretty sure these are all wood bits. Move your hand, bro. So let's see if we can not like screw this up too bad.
Yep. Gotta learn how to put it.
Hey, I drilled through the bottom of your frame stuff.
Oh, that's all good. Appreciate it, man.
Hold on, let me line this up a little bit. Oh man, your radio.
You already broke it.
All right, so what we're basically doing, instead of cutting the actual entire shifter surround, on the underside of it, I'm just trimming these 2 areas. So this way, when the bolts, these bad boys, have to get installed here on the forward side, I can just use this, slide through, and it'll just tighten it without having to cut this entire thing out. Because it looks like it holds pretty much this entire base together from going back and forth. And it may have to do something with the radio too, and I don't want to mess with it. So just 2 small holes, and we'll vacuum clean this outlet. Move your hand, bro. All right, so what I'm going to do next, we're going to try to get this shifter in while Stav's getting the box. Stav, you got the box back there?
Waiting for you, dude.
All right, so we're going to try to line this up and then bolt in the bolts as to the best of our ability here. And I got the camera kind of all jerry-rigged on this steering wheel, so hopefully it stays still. So this way you guys can see what we're doing. And we're going to line up the holes. Here are the 2 holes that I drilled so I can kind of bolt these in. Hopefully I won't have to drop anything and lose anything. Lining up the bottom of these holes here and the front, and the backs we'll worry about in just a second. And then we're going to take the supplied hardware and just bolt it in. The actual shifting box gets bolted to each other from the top. So let's see if we can get this done without messing it up too bad. Let's get this in the... So the install is fairly pretty simple. Those 2 holes that I drilled in the front really helped. Aligning was a little tricky. It's a very much a 2-man job. You know, Stav was in the bottom, kind of moving around the box, and I was fiddling with the screws. I ended up dropping one of the bolts, and Stav had to grab a magnet, but
Hit me in the head.
but it's coming together pretty well. The install is pretty straightforward. You don't need any crazy tools to do this, we found. But it was really easy having the transmission out of the car. It made it a lot easier. So us, you know, Stavros' motor being out made this a lot easier and straightforward versus doing this with the transmission. So this is just, again, we're lining up the box. Stav's cursing from the bottom of the car, screaming at me.
In 4 languages.
In 4 languages. And we're just trying to line everything up. We finally got everything in, tightening down all the bolts. The shifter seems really impressive, man. The build quality of it is... I can see why this is the original shifter versus some of the replica copies that are out there, and why a lot of people prefer this complete shifting solution. And it's not even that bad, too. You know, we didn't have to cut up too much in the car for it to fit. But it's in. It installed fairly simple. And let's show you the inside of the shifter. All right, Stav, so what's next?
I'm going to be connecting these ball joints onto the connection here.
On the bottom of the box?
On the bottom of the box. So, and then putting in these little retaining clips that come in the...
How do you know which one goes where?
I don't... Well, they're labeled actually on the box here. We have the previous owner labeled which one to use, for, and the adjustments are already preset. So, that's how I know basically which one goes where. Okay. So let's get to it. So right here, I'm trying to install the Heim joints onto the shifter rods. It's fairly easy once you you know, get a little bit of light, which I was struggling with at first. But as you see, getting them on is fairly easy. Just putting the little retaining clips is kind of hard because you're working at a terrible angle, especially with us working on jack stands.
I was kind of surprised, though. I won't lie to you. I thought maybe that being such a small access panel would be really hard to work on, but it wasn't bad. But again, having the transmission out made this so much easier.
Correct, and of course with me doing it, it made it even better. But because
Mr. Humble.
But one thing I got to say, that when we were originally going to put it in, we didn't know if it was gonna how hard it'd be to access it. But with the little service access door on the bottom, it was quite easy, honestly.
Yeah, it makes it a lot cleaner too.
It's
on there. All right. So, shifter is on. 2, 3, 4. Look at that. Always centers itself, except once it's forward and aft, of course. But that's it, guys. We're going to check out the bottom of the box. We'll show you how the bottom of the box looks in terms of where it's installed. But top of the shifter installs into the box. Looks like we didn't have to drill anything too crazy from the top. Looks like it's secured in pretty good. Linkages, we kind of zoomed in while you guys are seeing Stav put it together. Let's get to the bottom of the car and see what it looks like.
All right, guys, so as you see, these 2 connections that go from the shifter are now connected with the Heim joints. You see George's face there. I'm sorry, can't do anything about that. It's pretty easy to connect. There's like a retaining clip on both of them, both sides. So what I'll do is, you know, it's basically a 2-man job. You need someone on the bottom here to hold up this the box again, and somebody from the top to align it. Then it's, you know, this could be done with 1 person. Doesn't need 2 people to connect the cables, but the official original alignment, it's a 2-person job. Now that the shifter box installed, I have yet to see what it looks like inside the car, but I'm pretty excited. Pretty easy installment, and this whole access box is a great idea, so you don't have to like pull it all apart. You can come underneath the car and, you know, basically adjust everything without actually taking the whole car apart. Pretty nice. All right, guys, let's get back to installing the CAE on the transmission.
Yeah, look at that. And the box is installed on the bottom of the chassis. And then the cables come out. And then I guess these rod ends hook up to the actual transmission. And then we'll take these nasty ass axles out and get DSS axles in just as we're getting ready to put the motor in. But you'll see his stock axles are already torn up a little bit. Boots are garbage. But that's cool. Pretty simple install. Took us about 8 hours. And now we'll get it on the... First we're going to transfer Stav's custom transmission mounts or brackets to the actual new trans that we're going to use. And then we're going to install the CAE stuff. In fact, we were thinking about cleaning this bad boy up and then painting it, but I think we might just leave it as is. It is a little dusty though. Might drive some people's like OCD crazy that it's fact that it's kind of nasty. That stuff.
Drives my OCD that it's crazy.
Maybe we should just rinse it down real quick. You think?
Maybe. Possibly, yeah, we should power wash it.
Go rinse it down, and then it's already painted. It looks like someone painted it black.
Correct.
All right. We'll rinse it down real quick, and then we'll...
I'm going to lose a tenth over it being gold, but you know what? The 12 out, I can lose a tenth and still go 6.
That's $5 worth in not Harbor Freight. What did we get? AutoZone?
What?
That was AutoZone paint we used, right?
The paint?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's the AutoZone special right there.
Rattle canned. All right, so we're gonna rinse and clean up this transmission a little bit, and then we'll install the CA parts on there. Everyone, so now we are ready pretty much to start installing the CA shifter kit. And the one cool thing right off the bat, and again, this is a used kit that we picked up, so mind that everything looks a little tattered, and it's got some mileage on it. But the one cool thing about this kit is now this cross rod, we're gonna delete this, we're gonna remove this. This comes right off, no need for this.
All the factory components are gonna be gone.
How do you know? You can't even see.
I can see this very well. So now you guys can see we just still a little bit wet. We had my helper George power wash the transmission.
Oh yeah. And just to let you know, we normally wouldn't clean this stuff off, but Sarah from Sarah Tuned, eat your heart out, because you're the one that made us look at this and get OCD in fact that we had to clean it. So we're out there brushing this thing for about 30 minutes to get it looking proper, and now we could do the install.
Well, the thing is, we tend to see a lot of the bottom of the car because we're always working on the car, and then when it gets loaded to the tow truck, we see it there also.
Yeah, and this is more or less for the AAA guys. So
Yeah.
for you future AAA guys that can be towing our B5s when they break, at least from the bottom of the car, you'll appreciate all the hard work we put into keeping it clean.
Correct.
All right, so we're gonna start installing the CA components onto the trans. We're gonna let you guys know what has to come off, where it gets installed, and let's start off by removing this cross rod, shall we? I think that looks like a 6 Stav. Let's use a 6. And
If you say it's a 6, I'm gonna say it's an 8 because you're usually wrong.
definitely a 6. That looks like a 6. Super organized toolbox. Harbor Freight. Super organized. 6?
Nope. It's a 6.
Yep, it's a 6.
Mark that. What day is today? What day is today? Monday? I was wrong. I was officially wrong on a Monday. Oh, whoever put this on, put it pretty tight.
All right, so now that we got the cross rod off, what's the next step, Stav? It looks like we might have to take out a couple of these bolts.
Yeah, correct. This bracket right here is actually supposed to go right here, right?
Right there.
Yeah.
So it looks like these 2 trans bolts we got to take out, and then what in the back?
Yeah, correct.
Let's see the ones in the back. Do we have to take off so this way we can show? So we're removing the forward 2 here on the left side of the trans, and then the aft 2 here that are going to have to come out for this bracket. Now it looks like this is where the shifting cables kind of come through and get mounted. This is where they stay in place. And there's these small little parts, these little half moon things, come across, bolt it on, and that's what holds the cable on. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to take these 2 aft, and looks like these 2 forward bolts off. So we're removing the forward 2 and rear 2 bolts. This is part of the CA shifting kit bracket where the cables get mounted up, and the bolts are actually part of the casing of the transmission. Those come out. There's no fluid, or you got no danger of removing anything, but we took them out, had no issues. And as we're putting this in, we noticed the bracket was kind of tweaked.
A little bit tweaked, maybe from shipping or,
No, that's definitely from welding, man. Look at it. Whoever had this before had some miles to it. They made some power. They must have broken it, but we just had to hammer it in place.
Give it a couple love taps, you know?
Yeah, a couple. And the precision hammering to get the bolts in, but so far, it's going in pretty smooth, and we haven't had any issues, but the bracket seems to have some miles on it.
Guys, don't do this at home. We are experts.
All right, so now, Stav, let's tighten this down. All right, so now that we got that on, here's the little lever piece, and it has this, looks like, could be
Teflon?
Teflon, yeah, Teflon coated. We're not going to lubricate it just yet, but it looks like this is where it slides on. This is the counterweight that replaces the stock counterweight there. Remember, we don't use that crossbar anymore because everything's pretty much focused in this area. So we're going to slide this in here, get it to go on. Once it's on, use the interesting.
What?
No, I was just I forgot it reuses the stock nut. You already getting in gear?
Yeah.
All right, so that's on. That's on. Let's tighten this stuff. Tighten that up. Okay. So now that's on there. And then got our bracket on. And then what other pieces do we have left? Now, we're not ready to install this trans in the car yet because we still have to mate it to the motor. That's going to be part 7. But essentially what's left to do now, to give you guys an idea, is...
Well, these are the holding clamps for when the
so let's get those on, just kind of temp just for now so we don't lose them.
All right. I'd assume...
No, from the backside. There you go.
Yep.
It's all right, man. Big brother's here to help you, bro. I got you.
Paul is not here.
Or we can leave those hanging. So that's where it's going to hold the cable. That's one of the first ones, and then the secondary cables. Yes, you are.
Yeah,
there you go.
Come on, thank you, helper.
Just making sure I'm.
Thank you, helper.
Listen, I'm just making sure everything's good.
Appreciate it, helper.
And that's kind of cool. The cross rod gets deleted because everything's pretty much focused here. That's pretty badass.
Because the cross rod is only for to keep this secure, but no longer needed with this whole new system. This is a really nice system. And honestly fits pretty well.
Let's see if I can get one too. If anyone's selling one used, let me know.
I doubt it. And if you are, let me know. I'll buy it just so George doesn't get it.
All right, so that's and that's pretty much where they're at. So is that it? Is that how simple it is? So this whole then the levers, the little cables would hook up here with the cotter pins.
Correct.
And that's it.
Yep.
And then you just adjust the travel on the box.
Correct. To make sure that it's fully engaging or disengaging.
So I'd say, I mean, obviously the cables are going to be just on one side, but look how much cleaner that looks and more stout. There's no plastic, rubber bushings or anything that you have to use.
This whole setup is you take all the slop out exactly because now no longer do you have rubber bushings. You have these Heim joints here.
So everything's pretty much done now.
Correct.
Wow, look how much more focused that looks. I mean, sorry guys that it's dirty again. It's a used kit that we bought, but I mean, that's pretty. Compare that right there to stock, and just the look of it is actually pretty cool. It's a shame this is going to be hidden underneath the car.
Correct. But we'll be seeing it every time we work on it and pull motors and transmission.
Well, that's it, guys. Shifter is installed. All right, guys. So that's the install for the CAE Custom.
Not custom. It's a product line that they make specifically for this car.
For the limited production CAE.
It's limited because they're expensive and they're a high quality product with a low run, but it's not really custom.
Install on Stav'S transmission 01E. Again, all the brackets. Look how nice and clean and simplified it looks compared to the OEM stuff. Again, not saying that you can't go fast, it can't go racing with your OEM stuff, but Stav has taken now his build while it was down. We were waiting for parts to a new level and decided to upgrade his entire shifting assembly to the CAE solid shifter setup. So when someone says solid, I mean, this is truly probably the most, I hate to say the best because there's going to be some variance in that, but this is probably the most extreme shifter setup you could get for the stock trans.
Correct. It's the most extreme setup.
Look at
Eliminates
that.
all the bushings. Everything is now.
Cables would go across, hook up here, one here for the Heim joints, and then you're good to go. All right, and that's it. So, hey, this is part 6, all wrapped up. As Stav said, he's pretty serious on getting this car together.
Thursday afternoon, this car will run.
And today's Monday, so Tuesday, tomorrow morning, this video will post. And then we'll have a new video.
Tuesday night.
Actually, hold on, I won't say this. So today being Tuesday when you guys are viewing this video, Wednesday morning will be part 7. And we're going to have some more goodies and a lot more progression in part 7. And then Thursday will be part 8.
That's usually what comes after 7.
Where Stav's car will be together and firing this week.
On all 6 cylinders.
On all 6. So guys, thank you guys for sticking around. Thanks for support. Thanks for watching. And as always...
don't buy a 24 valve, as always.
Savage. All right, guys. Thank you guys for watching. I'm George.
I'm Stav'S.
This is Malaka Motorsports. We'll see you guys on the next episode. That will be episode 7.